Release the Kraken!
Welcome back, fellow game designers. In our last one, we went ahead and set up the binding for our character. This one, we're going to set up the rig. So let's go ahead and make a quick save here. I'm going to go up into File, do a Save As. We want to make sure that we save our bind pose without the rig. Make sure we save that as Mario _ bind pose. I'm going to label mine tut for tutorial. Okay. Make sure we save that, because we will need a bare bone bind pose without the rig on it later. And then we're going to save this next one, so save as. And I'm going to go ahead and just underscore this. I'm going to say rig. That way we have a rig file that we can use to work off of. Okay? It's good to have a backup. All right. Now as we go, let's go ahead and make the rig. I'm going to come over here, go to Curves and Surfaces, and then we have an array of things we can use to control our rig. Now granted, you could also use polygons if you like, but most often you're going to deal with curves just because they don't get in the way as much. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a circle. And then it's going to appear down here. It's going to be kind of small. I'll hit R to scale it. I'll grab the middle scale and just kind of drag to the right until I have a size that I like. Awesome. I'm going to turn, let's see, we have Mario's right foot there, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the feet off. El Fito, Fito, feet, feet, feet. There's leg right, where's that one, and left one. Okay. So now we have this curve here. I'm going to press W to get Move Tool. I'll hold down the V key, and I will snap this to my toe joint. And I'm actually going to center it right about there. Let's go ahead and turn the foot on again. And you can see that this is a little bit too far out, and it's too big for my foot. So to make life easier, I'm actually going to turn the leg off, hold down the V key. I'm going to drag the arrow this time, just drag it back toward the ankle joint here. You can see how it lines up with the ankle, but doesn't snap to. That's going to give me pretty good alignment about there. And I'm just going to eyeball it. Good enough. Now I'm going to take the circle and I'm going to do some editing to it. So if I right click on it, I can go to curve point, when you also have control vertex. So any of these are good. Curve points are pretty cool. This one actually doesn't have any visible, but they usually float around here that you can kind of mess with. If you don't see curve points, you can also go to control vertex, and that'll give you a little bit more to work with. And all a curve vertex, or a CV, is a vertex that guides a loop. So if I move this, you can see how it kind of bends. Hey, we're going to use these to kind of shape this as we like. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple, and I'll just scale those in. Cool. I'll grab a couple in the front here. I'm just holding shift as I do that, and I'll kind of scale those in. Grab these in the back here. I'll scale. I'm actually going to just move them in. That's cool. And the whole point is to kind of create a bit of a shape that roughly outlines our foot without being too intrusive. So there's actually a curve point in there. If I hit 4, you can see that I grabbed that one there. Whoops. Want this one and that one. Pull those out just a bit. And then these ones up front, I'll just move those back. Now, however you decorate these or edit these is up to you. It's not that important. If you look at different models or character rigs out there in the wild, you will see that they come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and all sorts of fanciness. So that's up to you. You can leave curvature on it. You can scale this straight to flatten it out, however you like. I like that little flat look, so I'm going to do that. A little bit of curvature. Same thing I deal with this. Good. So here's my little foot. I'm going to take these. Let's go back into object mode here. I want to make sure that this is actually aligned with the ground. So I'm going to go into my side view here. I'm actually in front Z, so it doesn't really matter front or side. And we want to snap this to the ground. So I'm going to hold down the X key, snap to the ground. Perfect. That's going to tell us where the ground is relative to Mario's feet. Yeah. For this one, I'll go ahead and turn the leg back off. This is in a good position. I like where it's at. I'm now going to snap the pivot to the ankle. And the reason for that is when I move the foot, turn that back on. When I go to move the foot, I want to be able to move it from that ankle joint. Okay? And if I grab this, you can see how the pivot is down here. It grabs too low, and that'll be weird, right? So to make life easy, turn that off again. I'll press the D key so I can move my pivot. Hold down V, drag that to the joint, and then press D again to lock it. And now you'll see that when I go ahead and grab the foot here, it automatically hovers over the ankle. Amazing. Okay, turn the leg back off. For the next joint, or the next controller, I'm going to grab another circle and go ahead and scale it up. I'll put that to the knee, so hold down V, and I will snap to the knee. I don't know exactly where I want this to be yet. Turn that on. I think I will put this one out here in front of the knee, like so. Maybe I'll rotate it, so I'll grab that. I'll hold down the J key, and then I will rotate 90 degrees. I can just check here. It looks like it. Good. I'm going to go ahead and just stretch this out. Get my control vertices. I grab this end, I'll scale it. This one, I'll scale it. Again, you can make this look however you like. I'm just being fancy with it. Try not to grab the joints there. I actually turn the skeleton off so I don't do that. There we go. Turn that skeleton back on. I'll grab this end here. So I have this end and that end. And I'll pull it back just to give some curvature. And look, now I have a fancy thing for my knee. Awesome. Again, you can decorate these however you like. There we go. There's my knee control. I'm going to take my knee control, get my skeleton, I'll turn off the leg here, and I want to snap the pivot to the knee. So I'll press W to get my pivot, D to unlock, hold down V, grab the middle, and then drag to the knee joint. D to lock again. So now when I grab this, it'll grab there. Awesome. Next thing on our list will be the hip joint. Grab another curve, scale it up, and I will snap it to my hip. I'm going to bring it outside the hip a little bit. Let's turn the leg on so I can see how far I need to go. Okay, so rotate that. I'll rotate 90 degrees to the side here. I'm holding down the J key to snap. And I will move it in just a little bit. Cool. Again, you can keep this as a circle if you like. I'm going to be fancy and change some of the decorations on it. So I'll make maybe this here, and maybe I'll bend it in a little bit, just so it's not a regular old circle. Cool. Now I'm going to snap that to the hip. So press D, hold down the V key, snap to the hip joint, make sure I'm actually on the joint here. Sometimes the skin gets in the way. D to lock, there we go. So we have that. And then to make the other side, let me turn torso and pelvis off real quick. To make the other side, I'm going to duplicate and flip it. So Control D, and then I have another one. I'm going to hold down the V key, snap it, okay, and then I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees over. So hold down the J key and then drag and rotate 180. Whoops, come on you. There we go. Looks like it's on the correct spot. Yes. For this one, should be pretty easy because it's center. So Control D to duplicate, hold down V, snap. Same thing with the foot one, Control D to duplicate, hold down V, and snap. Okay, so we have those. I'll turn the legs on real quick. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. For the arms, I do kind of the same thing. Grab a curve. I'll turn the arms off real quick and scale it. Hold down V and snap. And I'm going to rotate these. So E to rotate, J to snap rotate. Make it about 90. Positive, negative doesn't matter. Turn the arm on to see how much I need to change. Okay, I will scale up a little bit. I'm going to move this over so it's outside of the head. Little bit like that. Turn the arm off, Control D. I'll hold down the V key and snap the next one to the elbow. And I will just repeat that down the line here. Make sure I snap that good on the elbow there. That one's good there. And for my wrist, I don't actually need the wrist, so I'll leave that one alone. Okay, I'll make these ones a little bit different to accommodate the arm here. Maybe this shoulder one, I'll give it some flex. Grab that one in the bottom. Kind of flex it a little bit. Maybe do something unique for the elbow. What can we do for the elbow? I don't know. Whatever you want to do. You can make the elbow look like an elbow. There, something different. And then for that wrist joint, maybe make it slightly different. Control vertex here, I'll grab the wrist. Oops. Maybe I'll make this one pointy. Grabbing those, and I'll scale out. Grab these ones on the corner. Oops. There we go. I keep grabbing the arm there. Turn the arm off. There we go. Grab this one, this one, this one, and that one. Scale is in. Hey, look, I have a different shape. Cool. Object mode, I'll just scale it up. So now I have a different shape for each one. So I have a visual change as well as, you know, a positional change. I'll move this up a little bit, and then D. Hold down V and snap that back. Okay, so these are all where they need to be, hopefully. And it's a matter of duplicating and moving over. So this one, I need to set the joint. Hold down, hit D, hold down V, snap it. There we go. Control D to duplicate. I'll move this one over. This one will do the same. Grab it. Control D to duplicate. Hold down V, snap it over. Control D to duplicate. Hold down V, snap it over. Okay. This one I don't need to rotate, but this one I do. So that's going to be 180 degrees. So go ahead and flip it, hold J, drag it over. 180, looks good. This one, same deal. Hold down J, flip it, 180 degrees. Like so. Now it does say 90, but negative 90 to positive 90 is 180 degrees. So both numbers work here. Maya doesn't really care. Okay, so we have those. Now we need to set up our central controls for the torso and the head. So our master control will do a little bit different, but let's go ahead and do our pelvis joint. So scale it up. Hold down V, snap to the pelvis. I'll turn the torso and pelvis on. So there's the pelvis joint. Let me scale this out. And I want this to be easily recognizable as the pelvis. So I will do some conversions on this. I like maybe do this side and these. I'll have to do one at a time, so I'll grab this one, I'll scale flat. These three scale flat. That's good. These I can bring in. Maybe take this center one in a little bit. Make it look like a butt. There we go. Again, the amount of precision is up to you. These are just visual aids to help us model. So there's that one. For the next one up, Control D, hold down V, I'll snap to the next joint. I don't know what I'm going to do for this to make it different. Maybe I'll just change the size a little bit. Let's grab the torso. I don't need to have that much room, so we'll just scale in. That looks good. For my chest joint, that one, maybe I'll do a circle. I will scale it up, snap it to there, torso on, scale this out so I can see it. That's good. And however you want to decorate this one is up to you. Let's see what I can do differently here. Sometimes coming up with new ideas is tricky. Okay, that's a little bit too narrow. Grab this, oops. Cool, there's my chest joint, or my chest controller. I'll move these in some. Now I need my neck and my head. So let's go ahead and make those. For those, I'm going to be very simple and just use circles here. So turn that off. Downside about doing this at midnight is you get a little bit tired. Where are you at? Here's the head. Make sure that's snapped to the neck. It is. And then I will duplicate and snap the next one to the head. And grab them both. Turn the head back on. And make sure that they are both big enough to get a hold of. So here's this one. Okay, so for the neck, I don't need to be that big, so I'll take it down some. And I will modify it just a bit in the front, so I can give it a direction, maybe point it out a little bit. Yeah. If you want to make these just plain old circles, you are welcome to. You can do these however you like. I'll probably say that 40 times more throughout this video. And I re-emphasize that because, I teach high school students and such, and a lot of times when people follow tutorials, they feel like they have to take everything I say as gospel, and they have to do it exactly the same way. And it's okay to do your own way. Okay? This is all about technique. It's not necessarily about aesthetics. Okay, so I've got that one. Maybe I'll put it halfway through the nose here, and I will change how far out. So maybe these come out like this. Maybe I'll take these ones in some more. I don't need to have that much room on the side of the head. Bring those in. Okay, there we go. So now I have a controller that I can get a hold of for the head, and a bunch that I can get a hold of for the body. The last controller I'm going to make is, just because it's fun, is the main control down here. Again, you can throw a circle and make it, but I want to show you a way of doing it so that you can start making fancier controls. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this curve here that's got this these little dots on it. This is our EP curve. Go ahead and hit that. And let's go ahead and bring up the tool settings here. We're going to set this to 1 linear, and then we're going to make an arrow that we can use for our character to kind of be different than what we currently have. So we got that. Jump into a top view. Now come over to the side here. I don't know exactly how big I want this arrow to be, but scaling is always an option. So I'm going to hold down the X key, and I'm going to use this as like a central point. So let's say I start on this corner. Hold down X, and I'll hit it. Now continue holding X, come down some. Now I've got this line here. I'm going to go out 2 points. Cool. I have the starting point of an arrow. I'm going to come down. Let's see. 1, 2. I'll come center here. So hold down. That's 1 point, 2 points, 3. This is the middle line here. Hold X as I snap. So now I have the beginning of an arrow. I'm going to go out the same distance. So I have here 2 points. So middle, 1, and then 2 points. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. Count back, and then up. Right, you see the direction I'm going? I need to go out some distance. Let's see, how far out do I want to go? Got 1. If I go out here, I'm going to end up exactly here. So I'm going to go out a little farther, and about 3 points this time. I'm going to come down 1. And go over. It's going to make a narrower arrow. I'm going to come back. Nope, not good enough. I gotta go. I control Z to go back. Go this far out. There we go. That looks like the right count. Come back. And I'll go up. Go up 2. I'll come over 1. Go up 2. Come down 2. Come over 1. Down 2. And I'm mimicking this arrow, so this one's out 3. So 1, 2, 3. Up 1. Down 3. Or down 2 diagonal. Over 2 diagonal. up 1, and then back 3. If I hit enter, I now have this shape. Look at that. That's kind of cool. And I'm going to go ahead and just grab my curves, control vertices here. Grab these ones. And I'll make some changes to this arrow, like so. If you want this to be perfect, you're welcome to make another one. I'm not going to be that OCD about it. That should do it. I have these that are going to be my back and side arrows, and then I have this one that's going to be my front arrow. Now what's kind of cool is you can always change it. So I can grab this point, and I can X snap this to whatever distance. So if I want to make these thinner or farther out, I can do that. Okay? So I kind of like this as it is. And I back up a little bit there. Maybe I'll shorten this out a little bit. There we go. Okay. So I'm not going to go too crazy with this. I'm going to go ahead and just go to object mode at this point. Grab this. Polygons. Let's go to center pivot. That'll center it roughly about here. And then I want to move this where my character is. I'm going to center this directly on the grid. Hold X. Let me turn the skeleton off. Hold X. Center that on the grid here. And I will scale it. Let's go into my perspective view to see exactly how big I need this to be. Let's turn the body parts on. So there's my central control. I'm going to go ahead and just make this good and big. Look at that. That's kind of cool. I think I'm going to move this up so it's visually centered. Turn the body parts off. Let me go ahead and re-snap this. So press D to unlock, hold down X and snap to the center there. D to lock it. And now I have my central control. Okay. So now our controls are made. And they are ready. Make sure we save. The last thing we're going to do with this is we're going to clear the controls so that they're ready to go. We can either name them and then actually connect them to the body. So let's go ahead and clear them all. You turn the torso off. I'm going to grab all the controls. Go up to Modify. Let's do a freeze transform. That's going to set all of our transforms to 0. Want to make sure that these are good and clean because we want, whenever I move this, we want it so that I can press 0 on these and they'll go back to default. That's the goal. Okay? So those can be reset pretty easy. And then we're going to go ahead and name them. So this one here, this is going to be the main control. So I'll say main control. You can name it however you like. This is going to be the left foot control. So L foot control. This is going to be the right foot control. So R foot control. Then I have my knee control. So left knee control. R knee control. L hip control. R hip control. I'll do my arms real quick. So this is going to be the left shoulder control, the left elbow control, left, you can do hand or wrist. I'm going to do hand control. And then I have the right shoulder control. Right elbow, oops. And the right hand control. Awesome possum. Okay, up the center of the body we have, this is the pelvis control. This is the spine control. This is the shoulders control. This one is the neck control. And then the last one up top, this is the head control. All the controls are good. Make sure I save. Yay. Now we're going to tell this to work with our skeleton. So I'll turn the skeleton on. And it's real simple. We're going to go ahead and grab the control. Hold shift and grab the ankle or the joint that it controls. So this is my foot control. I'm going to have that control my ankle. Make sure we're in rigging. We'll go up to constraint. And then we're going to do one of these constraint options. So parent does both an orient and a point constraint. If you want it just to point in the direction, you'd use a point constraint. If you want just rotation, you use an orient constraint. I actually want both. I want this to be able to do both pointing and orient. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we're going to do parent. Okay, we're going to get this blue tick on here, and you'll see that this, once I move it, it controls here. And I can also orient it. Awesome. And I can set that to 0. It goes back to normal. Sweet. We're going to do that for the knee control. I'll grab the knee. Shift grab the knee. Constrain, parent. And you can test it if you like. Okay. And you see that this is rotating the joint. That works correctly. It's not moving the foot yet because we need to also parent the foot to the knee. Okay, but we're going to do that in just a minute. So I'm going to take this, shift select the hip, constrain, parent. Okay, so that's cool. We got those. And if I grab the hip, I can turn it. You can see it turns the joint. It's not turning the rest of the leg because we have to tell this that it's allowed to move these. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab the foot. I'm going to shift select the knee joint. I'm going to press the P key. So now the foot is a child of the knee. And if I move the knee, it'll move the foot. But if I want to grab the foot, I can move that by itself. So that. Okay. Take the knee. I'm going to shift select the hip. Press P. So now the hip is allowed to move those three. Right? Because the hip is the parent of the knee. And the knee is the parent of the foot. That makes the foot the grandchild of the hip. Right? So that's kind of the order. So now we have a controller that controls our leg. Awesome. I'm going to go up and do the same thing on this side. So over here, shift select the ankle, constrain, parent, get the knee, constrain, parent, and the hip, constrain, parent. Now if you want to be able to scale, let me go ahead and turn the foot on real quick. Now if I grab the foot and I rotate and do all kinds of stuff with the foot, that's cool. But if I want to scale the foot here, you can see as I scale, nothing happens. So like when Mario throws a punch or a kick, sometimes his foot gets bigger. To do that, we need to tell these that they're okay to scale. So I grab this and the ankle. Let's go up to constraint. I'm going to add a scale constraint to this. So now if I grab that and scale it, it'll scale the foot. Okay. I'll do the same thing on the other foot. Grab that. And I will also add the scale constraint. So now this part can scale on the feet. Okay. Go up and do the arms here. So this one will get constrained on the shoulder. And then elbow to elbow, parent, and wrist to hand, parent. I'm also going to do on the hand should I grab them both? I'm also going to do a scale constraint. That way when Mario punches, I can make the hand bigger. I'm going to just test that. Yes. Okay. Do those on this. Constrain. Constrain. And this is going to get the parent constraint as well as the scale constraint. And you can see those represented in blue over here. So if I grab this one, for example, you can see we have the blue on the translation and rotation, but not scale. And on this one, we have translation, rotation, and scale. Cool. Okay. Now for the arms, we have the same kind of situation that we had the leg. We want the thigh or the hip to control the knee and the foot. We want the shoulder to control the elbow and the hand. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. So foot to knee, press P, the parent. Then grab the knee, shift grab the hip, press P. This controls those. That controls that. Cool. The wrist will be controlled by the elbow. The elbow gets controlled by the shoulder. So shoulder grabs the elbow, elbow grabs the hand. Same thing, hand to the elbow, and elbow to the shoulder. So those are all controlled. Yep. Oops. And yep. Cool. Now we're going to do the middle. So our pelvis control, that's going to get the pelvis. I'm going to constrain that to a parent. Then I'll take the spine 1, grab spine 1, parent that, grab my shoulders and my spine 2 joint, constrain that. So now this will turn my shoulders. Okay. The neck is going to go to the neck joint, parent, and then our head joint will go to the head, parent. And now we have to go down the list. So, right, my hips, if I were to rotate my hips, it would turn my whole body. So we want to go ahead and do that. So the head is controlled by the neck. Go ahead and press P. The neck is controlled by our shoulders. Press P. The shoulders are controlled by our spine. And our spine is controlled by our pelvis. So if I grab this, it grabs all them. This grabs that, so on and so forth. Cool. And then our pelvis is controlled by the main controller. Press P. So this grabs all. Now, our hips, go ahead and grab both of those. These are going to be attached to our pelvis. So if I move my pelvis, my legs go with it, right? So I'm going to go ahead and grab the pelvis joint. Press P. So now that grabs them. And then our shoulders are going to be controlled by our shoulder controller. So go ahead and grab that. Press P. So if I grab the shoulder control, I can turn my shoulders. If I grab the pelvis control, I can turn the whole body. Right? And if I grab the main control, I have the whole body. Hey! So those are all of our controls constrained and ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my skin pieces. I don't need the reference. And if I grab any of these, I can control Mario. Right? If I grab the hand, I can turn it. Hey! Awesome. Two minor things that we're going to do to make this a little bit more aesthetically pleasing just before we go. We're going to make it so the skeleton is referenced. So I'm going to put the skeleton. I'm going to click this empty box to make it a reference, and then I'm going to hide it. That way, I don't have to worry about grabbing the skeleton. I can just grab my controllers. The next thing is I'm going to turn the skin pieces to reference as well, so I don't have to worry about fiddling with them as I'm trying to grab controllers. So all of my skin, so the head is going to be referenced, the arms will be referenced, the legs will be referenced, pelvis is referenced, and torso are referenced. Now if I try to grab a controller, I only grab the controller. I don't have to worry about grabbing anything else. Okay? You grab that, cool. That makes life easier. Make sure I save. And then the very, very last thing before I go, I want to color code these so they're easy to pick out when you're working in a side view or in a wireframe view and that sort of thing. So I'm going to grab my controller here. I'm going to open up my attributes. And then I want to go down to our object display. Open that. Scroll down to Drawing Overrides. And then click the Enable Overrides button. And we have a color index here. So everything in the middle I'm going to highlight as a light blue. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now, unfortunately, you can't really do them all at once unless you put them in groups. So if you group them, you can kind of do it all at once. But in this case, I'm just going to do them one at a time. Repetition is good for the soul. So down here I have a slider. I'm just going to slide this to a light blue. You can pick whatever color you like. That one is a good one. I think that's the one I want. There we go. So if I let go, you can see there it is. I'll do that for all of my centers. Those are all going to be light blue. Sadly, it's not one of those things that happens all at once. So you can try grabbing them both and doing it, but it usually doesn't go through. See, I tried grabbing both, but it only did one. I'm sure you could write a script for it. MelScript is pretty flexible. So there's that. And then for my left and right sides, I'm going to go ahead and color code those. So everything on Mario's left side will be yellow. Again, you can pick whatever color you like, but I'm going to go with yellow. And then everything on the right side will be red. So grab that. There it is. Okay, so there is our rig color-coded and ready to go, ready to be used. Make sure we save our work. In the next one, we're going to go ahead and start setting up Mario's animations. Okay, so go ahead and stay tuned, and I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you enjoyed that video just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, we're at 1,400 subscribers. Woo! If you have any suggestions for future videos, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. And if you want to keep up with me on Twitter, it's BruceRF1. That's also in the description. And if you want to support the channel, make it easier for me to make content for you, check out some of my merch or one of my books. But yeah, all that, again, is in the description. Check it out, and I shall see you next time.